Greetings and salutations. Today I wanted to talk about my experience as a freelance illustrator, and I guess a year after me graduating and pursuing illustration as a full-time job and quitting my part-time job in order to do that. Back when in May of 2022 I graduated with my bachelor's in illustration at FIT, and throughout that time I was able to sell my first book, which I didn't expect to sell it, but a lot of people wanted it. And then I traveled for the first time out of the country. That's fun. Has nothing to do with this. I just wanted to state it because I'm just doing chronological order. And I moved out of my childhood home for the first time after I came back to the States, and began living with two wonderful people. And since then, the past year, I have been working on my second book, which is out now if you guys want to check it out. It is a traveling book of the time I went to Mexico last summer. Now here I am promoting my book and promoting my second book at that, and living on my own. But how am I actually doing both as an illustrator mentally and I guess like maybe financially, people are wondering? Depending on how often you work every month, you may or may not make income every month. This is something I had to keep reminding myself because there would be some months where I didn't make anything, and that would like worry me a lot to the point where like I would get anxiety, like I need to do something because this isn't okay, without thinking that like, oh, actually no, a couple months ago I did make this amount of money, so this should cover me for the next couple of months. But my mind is always like, because we live in a society where it's like you have to make money every month, especially like low income people. You have to make money every month if you want to survive, especially in New York City. So that was where my mind was set, and which kind of unfortunately fucked with my head as to creating. At this point, I wasn't really creating for the fun of it. I was creating to survive. But that's something that I'm still overcoming. But you know, we still moving, you know. Another thing, when it comes to being an illustrator, I highly recommend, like, even before you graduate, whether it be high school or college, you have to build an online audience. With whatever you have to start somewhere. If it weren't for me being active on social media throughout quarantine and there on out, I probably wouldn't be where I am today with the amount of TikToks, reels, posts I made. What is it? Twitter posts, whatever you call it, tweets. Do they even call them tweets? I'd probably be fucked, to be honest. I would most likely either be working like an office job or most likely still be working my serving job in my parents' house, which there's nothing wrong with that. But me being the stubborn, ambitious person I am, I wanted to get the fuck out of my hometown. I've also been trying to like market myself in public too, which is fucking tough considering the fact that I am very, very introverted. But it's life, and you know, you don't know what can happen. I've actually handed my business cards to musicians, artists that I went to see at a concert, first being Hojin. And I think I do have a TikTok of me doing that, and he's like, "Oh, shoot your shot." And then another artist whom I shan't name, but sometimes you just have to shoot your shot. You never know what can happen. Maybe something will come out of it. Maybe something won't. And I feel like being a freelance illustrator, you have to promote yourself in whichever way you can, whether it be online, whether it be handing out business cards to whomever. Always have business cards on deck is another thing. For one to make money, one has to grind. But I'm still trying to figure out what exactly that means, because you need like an equal balance, right? So doing a business isn't quick and easy, and that shit takes time. So don't rush into it. And just have patience to grow. In rare occasions, you can be lucky, especially in our society today. You can be lucky and be a hit through social media and instantly have your business booming. but sometimes it's not great to risk that factor, so it's best to start somewhere like beforehand, before graduating. I'm reading my notes and like nothing is aligning, but this is basically what I've been through the past year. So this is just literally me giving advice to people, I guess, who have just graduated with an art degree. Of course, there are like different paths for an artist depending on which you go through, but this is just from my experience. So it's best to start as soon as possible. Start off with, you know, what you have with resources. You don't need the best camera, you don't need the best like material to get started. Don't use that as an excuse to why you can't post or why you can't make art. Use what you have. I've seen many young artists be successful like on Instagram, on TikTok, with literally just the pencil and like printer paper. Anyone could do it. If you got the skill, do it. Don't wait, because the more you wait, the more you'll get anxious as to when you're reaching graduation or when you're reaching a certain age to where like, oh, I wish I did it, but I can't. I need this and that and this. No, you don't. You barely need shit. You just need a pencil and a pen and paper. That's it. And a phone, of course. And just fucking advertise yourself on social media, but also have fun with it. Draw what you want. And unless you have money saved up or working a part-time job or a full-time job, I'd reconsider working full-time as a freelancer straight out of college. Some people can do it, as I said, if you're able to market yourself on social media beforehand. Perhaps you have the audience to do that. But unless you've already built a presence online or professionally while in college or high school, wherever you may be, it's important to be smart with your choices. Even if you're eager to just quit your job and just be an illustrator, you don't want to regret it and lose interest in illustrating because you have to survive to do it. Because you have to survive in order to eat, to pay for rent and all these things. You're gonna eventually hate illustrating or drawing, art, whatever, doing art. If I wasn't as hardworking during my last semester at college and I didn't save money while working as a waitress for 7 years prior, I probably wouldn't have moved out on my own. I probably wouldn't have pursued illustration just as a whole, like as a full-time job, because with the savings and my monthly, quarterly income, I wouldn't feel as secure as I feel today, leading to the sources of income I make. So first thing is commissions. Commissions, I feel like you could do very well, especially if you have like a niche category you're in within your illustrations. But I actually hate doing commissions with a burning passion. I will do them regardless because I do have to make money. But like that's another thing. If you really want commissions, you have to advertise it. But don't sell yourself short. If you think your art is worth something, especially if you've been in art school for like 4 years, you know, they're not just paying for this art piece that takes like 20 minutes, an hour. They're paying for something that, you know, you spent years trying to develop your style, learning knowledgeable things in the art world to get to this point, to be able to draw their fucking dog, a person, whatever. So keep that in mind. Don't be selling your shit for like $10 for a sketch. Know your worth. Second thing is social media income. This one is a hit or miss. It depends on how well you are on social media, how well you can market yourself, following up on trends and audio and such, and seeing what fits your niche. Instagram did used to do bonus reels, which is like the more views you got on reels, the more money you would make, and that was like pretty solid. They gave you like a good amount of money a month. I think the most I ever got in a month through bonus reels was like about $200, but you know, it's also about consistency. So I think during that time period of bonus reels, because they stopped doing it in March, I would try to post like 4 to 5 reels a week, and you know, sometimes they would get like 100,000 views plus some. or sometimes they would just get like 10k, 15k, 20k. I would say like my average was like between 20 to 40k views. So there's that. I know their TikTok has their own way of things, but I'm not really sure how to go about it yet. I'm still trying to figure that out, but they do have their creator program thingy. You can also make money off of tips through, I think, like lives, so on TikTok live and Instagram live. Again, I haven't really dipped my feet into that yet, but that is also an option. And I know there is also another thing with Pinterest, but I also haven't looked into that yet because I don't really post on Pinterest. I save more photos than I post, because that's how I treat the platform. Though I do know you're able to make a good amount of income depending on your views and such on Pinterest. And then lastly is like the big one is YouTube, this platform, and it's a hit or miss, honestly, depending. I'm still trying to figure out like the algorithm with things on my end. I think also the highest I've ever made through YouTube may have been like $400 in a month, but I think that was the only time I hit that much. That 1 month, I was so happy. I was like, oh, I love money. But it also comes again into how much you post and how many views your videos get, because I think around that time I got like 200,000 views on like how to draw anatomy, that video, and I think that one brought a lot of income for me on YouTube. And then whatever like little videos that I made that are averaged at like 10 to 15k. As I started not posting as much anymore on YouTube and just every platform, I started to see like a decrease on my my income, which is valid because the more work you put in, the more videos you put out, obviously, I mean, sometimes you will get income. It will equal out to the amount of work you put. Sometimes, not all the time though. Doesn't apply all the time. But that is another source of income, social media income. Next are online sales, which is, I think, the top income for me at the moment. Online sales, they're amazing, which is literally just your website and selling products or selling something, whether it be like a little course or PDF of how to draw something or whatever you may have it. Those will pile up soon to where you're like, oh wow, I made like a good amount of income. Obviously the more expensive items, products you put out there, the more money you will make, and the smaller things that you do, the smaller things you will make, or the smaller amount of money you will make. Like, so stickers and prints, I would say that's like in like or stickers, yeah, just stickers by themselves, I feel like are like the low income area. And then this one could range depending on how much you price yourself. Again, know your value and price as much as you're worth. Prints do just as like they're I would say they're like a medium income. You know, they can range in different sizes and all that stuff. So I'd say I think I sell like between like $15 to $30 on prints depending on the size. And then my highest income product are my books. My first book sold very well. I'm not gonna tell you how much I made income on just my books, but I will tell you it was a large percentage for my whole sales throughout the year. Nonetheless, that is all. And I feel like keychains and like other like plushies I feel like plushies would be in the high ranking, and then what is the other one? Keychains would be like in the medium rank with prints. But that's as much as like products I can think of. You can also sell like little online courses and stuff. Third source of income is sponsorships. And no, I do not mean you just getting a tablet and reviewing it for free. I mean like they give you a tablet or they give you a certain product and they also pay you for reviewing it, editing the video, whatever, or posting a photo, making a drawing so that you can make the video. They're taking time out of your day instead of doing, other work that actually gives you income. So don't always fall into the trap unless you have the money to do that. Like, unless you have the money to where like, oh, you know what, I'll just do it just, for whatever. Know your value. The more of an audience that you have, the more that you should charge them for the sponsorship. The more you know. Next income are like conventions and fairs. This can range, to be honest, depending. It's better when you have like a niche convention or fair that you want to go to. Obviously, if you sell at an American fair, like a American county fair, and you sell like anime fan art, chances are you won't do that great as opposed to selling at, let's say, an anime convention. It's like a hit or miss sometimes. Usually, if for like anime conventions and stuff like that, because that's the only experience I have from that. I haven't done anime fan art for these conventions, and sometimes they do well, sometimes they don't. But I've also tried to sell like original artwork, which has sold pretty well in the last convention that I went to. That is all I got. Like I said, it's a hit or miss. I think I can't even recall how much I made at the last convention I went to, but that was a good amount of income. Though, you also have to include the expenses that you had to, get there, or plane ticket, hotel, Airbnb, all the materials you had to bring. There's all these like factors you need to input. Buying the table, because tables cost money in order to sell. There's like a lot of things going into selling at conventions, but it's not impossible. You just have to strategize really well. You don't want to spend more than you're making, because then what's the point? Next and last source of income that I could think of on the top of my head that I've done in the past year are supporting platforms like Patreon. I don't know other ones other than Patreon, but shameless plug, but I have a Patreon, Unlicensed Care Bear. I don't post a lot, but if you want to further support me, I'm on there. Patreon is literally just behind the scenes extra content that your audience viewers want. So, but they have to pay for it. Haha, there's the catch. I've seen many artists make a living off of just Patreon. I've seen artists make $10,000 a month just on Patreon. Depending on your personality, because I feel like personality is a very important thing when you're presenting yourself on social media, and also how often you put out content on Patreon and what type of content you put. You could be putting, how do I draw this, that, or like secrets on like how you make your book, how you do this, how you design a product, all like certain things according to this like niche topic. So again, it's all strategizing of like, what can I put out there? What do the people want? Let me give the people what they want. It's like supply and demand. But then there's working at a full-time job. Well, here's the thing. There's not a lot of jobs for just straight up illustration, unless it's like somewhere in animation or like a specific illustration area, like medical illustration. Or literally just graphic design job, because for whatever reason, graphic designers and illustrators are suddenly the same thing, and illustrators can get assigned as a graphic design job for it, whatever fucking reason. Of course, there are more niche jobs out there, but if you had built your portfolio particularly for that field, then you're good, my guy. But if not, then chances are there are better people fit for that category than you. But me, I had no idea of an office job I wanted to work at. So in the meantime, and of course, I could have made a portfolio for a set illustration job, office job thing, as soon as I graduated, or even better, before I graduated. But me being the stubborn person that I am, I was capable of being my own boss and setting my own guidelines and habits in order to work efficiently sometimes throughout this past year on my own. And I was able to continue building my brand and business. Another thing, using your skills at whatever job you have now, applying that to your illustration job in the future, like social skills, strategy, marketing. You can apply a lot of these things from certain jobs you attain. You're not a failure if you're not able to immediately pick up after graduation. A lot of illustrators don't start out like that, to be honest. Work with what you can, and as you're doing so, just implement what you learn in those jobs as an illustrator. As for me, I was able to learn how to be a little bit more social with clients and just be in general and just people in general by being a waitress. I became comfortable with how I spoke to customers and applied that straight up to my platform with my little quirky self. If it weren't for that, I probably wouldn't be as natural. I guess natural, yeah. I mean, like, it's not like I'm like faking this whole like personality of mine. I don't have the energy for that. So I will do what I do best and just be my little quirky self. But I feel like I have been able to speak more coherently and all that such things. So yeah. Just because you're not working as an illustrator doesn't mean that you can't learn things from that said part-time, full-time job. Tiki haha. And if you're able to be an illustrator straight up, find a good balance. If there's one thing I learned, it's to not take too many breaks, but also not to work too hard. And this is the reason for both. When I would take longer breaks throughout the day, or I just wouldn't wake up early on time, especially during the winter, I would not work as much for those days, thus leaving me with not having much of an income that month. As for overworking, I would either burn out or just take long breaks again to even it out. But then that would also not make me work. So as I'm writing this butchered script now, I have found my own rhythm and pace for things. I found what is enough to make me work enough to where I can still have a social life and money to, I don't know, feed myself and pay rent. It's just all about finding your own balance to things. If you don't find this balance, you will fucking hate yourself as time passes by, and you will not want to draw ever. You will not want to draw ever. You will not want to do anything. You will not want to find work. Things will be turmoil, and then you'll have to find a part-time or full-time job again. And you don't want that, right? So find a good balance, bro. You got this. So I went through a good chunk of my year in a rut. Although I had my second book to work on, I don't know. I was drained from art school and just basically life. But I'm back and better than ever. That's all the knowledge I can give you from being an illustrator this past year. It's been a lot. I'm still learning a lot. My way of thinking may change a year from now, to be honest. I'm not really sure. Again, I'm still learning as I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing right now. But here we are. I've managed to make it this far, and congratulations on graduating, or literally whatever you're doing right now that you have succeeded in life, achieved. Congratulations, and don't be scared of what will happen next. Just work on you, boo. Work on your growth, work on your social media, and be smart, strategize, and you got this. You don't have to go in immediately. Just as long as you have an idea of where you want to go is the most important thing, and just following through with it. Nonetheless, thank you for listening to me, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye bye.